On this episode, we review the 2023 EPCOT International Festival of the Arts. Today is January 31st, 2023, and this is episode 535 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I am your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. If you've not done so already, head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. Then if you hit that subscribe button, you'll get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Main Street 16 Challenge Weekend is here beginning this Thursday down in Walt Disney World. So check out all of the details and you can still donate at mainstreet16.com. I want to give a huge thanks to our sponsors, mousedining.com, touringplans.com, Vacation Grocery Delivery, where you can find them at vacationgrocerydeliveryfl.com, and get all the news and reviews from piratesandprincesses.net.
So today we are fresh off a awesome little short trip to EPCOT to do Festival of the Arts, and we are going to talk about all the food that we ate.
Yes, we are. Before we get into that, do you want to just touch base real quick on where we stayed? We went down. We had planned this a few weeks ago with Chuck and Allie. And Chuck, our wonderful travel agent, of course, with mainstmagictravel.com, can book you not only at Disney resorts, not only at Universal resorts, basically all resorts surrounding pretty much anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. And he did some research. One of the things that we are really looking into a lot is trying to venture outside of Disney-owned properties a little bit.
Yeah.
Finding places that are close. And so Chuck did exactly this for us, was able to find us a great rate. We split a room with them. Talk about where we stayed real quick.
Yeah. So we stayed at, I guess you would just call it an Aloft.
Yeah, owned by Marriott.
Aloft. And it is actually right down the road from the Springs entrance of that Exit 68, if you're familiar with that Disney sign that you turn, let's see, if you get off that exit, you're turning left into that sign and you're like, woohoo, we're in Disney.
Yeah.
And then you've got the hotels all along. I think it's Hotel Plaza Boulevard, actually. Yep. And so we were not too far away from that. And we were at this Aloft. And it was really, really cool. I've seen some. I've seen one in Jacksonville that built up near where Jeremy and I used to live. Mm-hmm. And I've never been in one until now. And it was super homey, super like modern, but like, I mean, there's a pool table when you walk in and people are playing. There's just seats where people are chilling, but just that very like a New York vibe.
That's what I was going to say is New York.
Super cool.
And especially when you come, and this is Palm Parkway. So as Rhonda was saying, if you get off of, you said it's exit 68? Mm-hmm. So you get off at exit 68, there's that huge gift shop building right there that's in the red, white, and blue. And I think there's like an eagle painted on the side of it or something. And you would get off, you would turn left on Hotel Plaza Boulevard. You'd head down to Springs and all those hotels. You go basically one more light, I believe it is, and you turn right on Palm Parkway. And there are a ton of hotels down here, one of those being Aloft.
Yes.
I think
of hotels on that
there are
road,
a ton. Like I'm going to take a look at some of those for some future stays, or I should say Chuck will take a look at those for us for some future stays. Modern New York, the room basically outside of having like a kitchenette had this like, I don't know, New York loft feel.
Yeah. And that's what Allie said too. It was really weird. So you walk in the door and you're like right to the left is your bathroom area.
Yeah.
Like you have your sink outside the toilet and shower room, which then was a barn door. It looks like you had some like space to hang things.
Yeah, that was kind of your wardrobe.
Wardrobe,
I guess
yeah.
you'd say. Yeah.
Some space underneath the sink. Some, just this big, and so then the whole sink side, and that is blocking off your bedroom, and then you come around the corner, and I'm like, is there 2 beds in here? Because I had no idea what was around the corner, and it was around the corner, and there's 2 nice full
I think they were full.
beds.
I don't believe they were queen. I think they were full beds.
And then a TV, a nice big TV, a small little refrigerator with a coffee maker on top, and then a nice little corner couch.
Yeah, I like that because we got back late last night. We did Phantasmic. We'll talk about that in a second. And I was still like super hungry, even though we had done Festival of the Arts. We had kind of ran around all day, and you don't ever like often get completely full. I feel like from some of the festivals. So this is late night, so I'm like, I'm gonna order pizza. So we got Domino's, but it was nice because literally you were in bed and you were ready for bed. So we were all sitting around chatting, and you ended up falling asleep. But Allie was able to sit in the other bed. Chuck was on that little couch. I was kind of in a chair next to a small table. Like again, it was one of those areas that sometimes you miss out on in hotel rooms if they don't have a space,
right?
Especially if you're sharing with another couple. It's just sometimes it's weird if you're all just sitting in bed eating pizza. So I liked that part. We drove to and from the parks, which was close enough, I think. So I would recommend this whole strip.
Absolutely.
And you're heading to Vegas in a few weeks. I'm gonna actually go down for a night to meet up with some friends. And I may look at this whole Palm Parkway strip because there was a Town Place Suites, a Spring Hill Suites.
There was.
There's that Rosen Inn with the water park. I think there might have been a Homewood Suite. So there's a couple options down there that I'd take a look at. So before we dive into festival, the foods, we tried a lot of new items. Talk about Phantasmic, which I cannot tell you the last time we saw it, but I think it's been 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I can't either, which I feel like is awful. We've never been those night park people, and Phantasmic, I don't know. I've never loved the movie Phantasmic.
Fantasia?
Thank you. And I think I just never really cared because I felt like that was more of what it was.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, Chuck and Allie was like, hey, why don't we go, since we finished, Festival of the Arts, why don't we go over to Hollywood and see that? And I was like, you know what? Yes, because we've been saying we wanted to. And so we did, and it was a great night. Beautiful, cooler Florida night. Great seats. We met Steve over there. Really had a really fun evening, honestly.
We did. We went for the 8:00 show. We were walking in probably slightly after 7. And they were letting people right in. We didn't have to queue up for a long time or anything. We got our seats. I went up, got some nachos, got a margarita.
Yeah. How was that nachos, babe?
Man, they were fine. It was literally a bag of Tostitos and then the plastic cheese that comes with the pretzels, which are delicious together.
Yeah.
Then they were just laid, like literally a bag of Tostitos. They didn't even open them and pour them into anything. So then and you couldn't even do that yourself because the little cardboard food boat that they gave you was a pretty good sized bag of chips.
Yeah.
You couldn't even fit everything in there. I've been to middle school sports games that serve a more put together nacho dish. Like I would think just go ahead and get the clear container. I like the ones you go to the movies, right?
Yeah.
And it's got either side. It's got in the center. It's for your chips, and they're just pouring them out of a bag. That's fine.
Right.
Sometimes they give them to you in a bag, and you open it yourself, which is cool because they're fresh, right?
Right.
But give me that big rectangular clear container that has an area for cheese on each side. You put your nachos in the middle, and then maybe give me an option to add jalapenos or something to it.
Right.
So I just thought that was kind of funny. But Steve got a pretzel. And then I went ahead because I saw we had the nachos, we had the cheese. I also got a box of popcorn. As everybody knows, I love to dip the popcorn in the cheese. I learned a new valuable additional hack to this hack, though.
Oh, my goodness.
Get a spoon. And just eat just because it was much easier. Instead of trying to get the kernel of popcorn in your hands, and I've got large hands, and dipping it in here because you're really getting the remaining cheese off the edges.
Right.
So my hands are just covered in cheese. It's sticky. It's gross. Next time I would just dump the popcorn in there and swirl it around with a spoon and then just eat it with a spoon like it was cereal.
Yeah. Okay.
I really enjoyed Fantasmic. I'll be honest, the first couple minutes I was like, and I remember parts of Fantasmic. I wouldn't be able to tell you the updates without having read what they were online
right.
with the show coming back, just because I'm not that familiar. It's been so long. First couple minutes, I was like, it sure is a lot of water screens and projections, not a lot of action. And then like Mickey shows up and some fireworks shoot off and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then again and again. And then they start having just these ridiculous, set pieces and stuff on stage. And I think this show ends fantastically, or phantasmically, I should say.
It was really good.
It's one that I could, I don't think, Happily Ever After is coming back in some form, whether it's going to be the same thing or just the song with the new show and all, we're not 100% sure. We actually really like Harmonious. Yeah. I don't hate Enchantment. I would still pick either of those over Fantasmic, but I like it. I'm glad that Hollywood has something back at night.
Yes.
So yeah, I wouldn't be hard pressed to say, we got to go see it. We got to go see it.
Right.
If you're in the park and you've never seen it, see it.
Yes.
If we're in the park and all of a sudden it's 7 and we're like, what do you want to do? You want to go see Fantasmic? Okay. Yeah. Then I would, but I wouldn't be hard pressed to go see it again. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's talk farts.
Okay.
Festival of the Arts. Probably one of my favorite festivals. Where do you rank it amongst the 4?
I think it's pretty up there. Because I love all the art and I love everything. It's just so short that it's not. I don't rank it as one of my favorites because it is so short.
Yeah.
And this year was just a few letdowns, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, what stinks is, with it being such a short festival, we've been very fortunate in the past years to still go multiple times.
Right.
This was kind of our one shot.
Yeah.
This was our Eminem moment. And I don't know if when I go back down here in 2 weeks, when you're out in Vegas, if I'm going to get a chance to head over to EPCOT, maybe. I don't know if we're going to get to next weekend during Main Street 16 Challenge.
Right.
I mean, I know that we're going through EPCOT for the challenge Saturday, but I don't know that we're going to stop and try food or anything. And so I think I felt super rushed to get it all done. In fact, we went back this morning for a few hours.
We did.
Just to
that
add
was
some
super
items.
fun.
But I love the art. If you go back to episode 528, we did an event preview, and that's really going to cover all the specifics.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm one of the few people that comes out of Festival of the Arts, and the only piece of merchandise that I bought was a House of Blues hoodie.
Well, I mean, I didn't love all the merch this year.
I did not. I thought this was a down year for merch as far as
and then the paintings were, of course, amazing, and I love all the art. But I mean, even the stitches that we were looking for, because I think we're going to go ahead and convert our bathroom into more of a stitch bathroom. I didn't see anything I'm like, oh God, I have to have.
Right.
So I was a little sad about that.
Here's what I'll say about the art. The art, I think, was as good as it's always been. I think in our mind, at least in my mind, I'm looking at it going, I love that. I would like to buy it. I have 4 to 5, if not 8 pieces of art that are in my closet right now that we have yet to frame and put up in the house. Where the heck are we going to put this thing?
Yeah.
And I think that was one of my issues. I'm like, all right, if we buy something, what are the chances we get home, we get it framed, and we put it up somewhere? Let's get these other ones knocked out first. Yeah. And I think that was part of the reason.
Yeah. I just feel like in the past, though, there's been stuff that we wanted and we've left. There was nothing this year that I was like, oh man, I really want this.
That wasn't $600.
Well, yeah.
I would say that Aloha stitch on the wood was
true.
pretty
It was
amazing.
$600 though.
Yeah, $600. And we're like, well, we don't have it. I was saying we were talking earlier.
There
was
no prints for that.
No.
Which usually they have that.
Right. They run about 50 and it's a pretty decent size print, like 11 by 14 or something. But they did not have that for this particular piece. But we were laughing because it was like, a lot of people would be like, well, if you won the lottery, what would you do? And they're like, well, I'd travel and I'd do this and I'd buy a new house and this and that. And we were like, I would start all decor in our house from scratch and we'd buy it all from Festival of the Arts. Like that's where our mind went, was let's spend all of our lotto winnings on art from Festival of the Arts, which is funny. Well, let's talk about the food.
Yeah.
at Festival of the Arts, we did our best to try as many new items as we can.
We did.
And not repeat things.
Yes.
As we run through the list of the booths, we will touch base if we need to on a repeat item. Again, back 528, that episode of our preview, we really touched on every single booth from past. So we'll really focus on the new items. And let's start with the artist table over in America. And this is actually the second booth we did. We'll talk about the first one because it was a repeat. But what are the two new items here that we gave a shot? And how did this bode for us?
Well, we tried the 3 meatloaf with peas and carrots, green pea pudding, carrot ketchup, shaved carrot salad, and a snap pea. And this was $6.50. And then we also got the duck and dumplings. It is smoked duck breast, ricotta dumplings, petite vegetables, and duck au jus for $7. So we got the duck and dumplings, and it came pretty quickly, and we brought it over to the table, and we were waiting on Chuck because he got the 3 meatloaf, and he was waiting for a little while. So we were like, okay, he's getting a brand new fresh one. And we even kind of joked about them making it like getting the cows together or whatever meats and everything. So, but it was a little disappointing because we brought it all over, and these were not hot dishes.
They were cold. They were like they were taken out of a refrigerator. Cold. I don't think they were that cold. I think that's a little exaggeration. I think they were maybe taken out of the refrigerator and just set out. Maybe.
And it was trying to get to room temperature. I mean, the duck was good because the duck can be served cold. It was fine.
It was very good. Very flavorful.
Yeah.
Cooked well. Had a nice sear and kind of crust on the outside.
The ricotta dumplings, I was a little disappointed because now that I read this description, I love ricotta. I had no idea. I would have never guessed they were ricotta dumplings.
No, it had no ricotta flavor to it.
They
It
were
felt very
dense.
much like a drop biscuit, standard drop biscuit dumpling. But the flavor on them was fine. It tasted like a dumpling, but because they were cold, it was super dense. And
it was just different because I don't think we were expecting that.
No.
It was not a bad dish. It is not something that I would not buy again. And I will say, because we have learned in the past that, hey, today might have been better, but we didn't get it. This is not something I'm like, oh gosh, don't get.
Right.
Flavors were there. Food was good. Like, we ended up eating the whole dish. It wasn't like we threw it away.
We did. The au jus was very good. And see, it was weird because, so I didn't watch them plate this, but the au jus actually had some warmth to it. So I think that they had, like you said, the dishes are sitting out, but they're not under a heat lamp, I don't believe.
Right.
And then I think they actually put the au jus on it from probably like a crock pot or whatever. So it still had some warmth to it.
Right.
But it was super flavorful. I mean, it's one of those dishes where the idea, the thoughts, the flavors were good. The execution did not work based on the temperature of the dish.
Right.
And I think that's the exact same explanation we'll give for the 3 meatloaf.
Yeah, you're going to have to talk about that because I actually didn't taste it at all. I don't like meatloaf.
It's still the oddest thing to me. It's basically like a burger in a loaf form.
Okay.
I still don't think they should put the word meat and loaf together. I don't know what other word they could use because it is done in a loaf pan normally. Yeah. But anyway, this was cold. Yeah. And it had this little like potato
the pudding, the green pea pudding.
No, it was like that stacked potato thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's not even in the description.
It's not even on the description. The shaved carrot salad was fine. Like, the carrot ketchup was actually super flavorful.
Mm-hmm. And they said it was really good together.
Yeah, the meatloaf flavors were there, but it was cold. So again, super dense. This is one where you really got to dig a fork in it and kind of break it off, as opposed to use it with like the pronged side instead of using the side of a fork and almost cutting through like that way.
Right.
So it was kind of super disappointing overall based on the temperature of the dishes.
Yeah.
So same thing with that. Like, I could see going back and being like, I'll try it again. Maybe it's hot.
Right.
Because if it was hot, I think both of these dishes are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a shame, but that's all right. We did not get anything from the Craftsman Courtyard this year, but as we've talked before, we've really enjoyed the beef Wellington there in the past.
Yes.
I saw somebody with it. It looked good. It looked like a good portion this year. One of the things that we've seen, and when we kind of hit that booth, even though we didn't try it, we'll talk about, is a lot of times you can see prices go up and portions go down.
Yeah.
And this one did not appear to be that way from what I saw. Deco Delights is all desserts. We didn't go dessert heavy this year, but we've enjoyed this booth in the past as well. They've got a great chocolate mousse you could try there. On the way out today, even though it's a repeat, I felt it necessary to stop at the Deconstructed Dish.
Oh, yeah.
Because what is one of my favorites there, and I know yours too, but you were filling up a little bit, so you only had like a bite.
Yeah, and we got the French onion soup, which is a beef broth ravioli, Gruyere cream, onion bread pudding, and onion textures for $6.50. Of course, it was fantastic. This year, though, the onion bread pudding was a very pretty good size, larger size.
There was a lot of it.
That you actually, once you finished everything else, you ended up throwing a little bit of that away, I saw.
Mostly because I was full. I could have just eaten it on its own, and still some of the broth had the flavor in it. I was just kind of full.
Okay.
And I'd gotten all the bites of the big pasta and the ravioli. I mean, this dish is so impressive. It's got this, bread pudding thingy on the bottom, or onion pudding on the bottom.
Yep.
And then it has this giant pasta ravioli filled with broth, beef broth inside of it. And then you've got these kind of charred onion textures that are all around. And you've got this Gruyere cheese crisp, like a Parmesan crisp on top. And this thing, when you just bust that open and it comes all together in one, it has all the flavors of French onion soup while also being a completely different dish than French onion soup.
Yes.
Because it does kind of turn almost into a pasta style dish, almost like a pasta soup.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the pasta is super good and flavorful. The broth is super rich. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Next, we're going to move into Mexico, which is one of my favorites. Year after year, we decided to get all three of the brand new food items at El Artisto Hambriento, which is the Hungry Artist. What are these dishes, Rhonda?
So you have a carne asada, which is chipotle marinated beef sirloin, sweet potato puree, crispy fried onions for $10. Then you have what?
Haracha de Championes.
That is chili and corn masa with pinto beans, oyster mushrooms, Napoles, queso fresco, and pea tendrils, for $7.50. And then flan, which is a coconut flan, guava sauce, and whipped cream for $6.50.
What'd you think of each of these?
All of these were actually fantastic.
Standout booth.
Very standout booth. Everything was great. I think the carne asada was one of my favorites. The flan was a very large piece of flan, I felt like, and very good. And this is gluten wheat friendly, which Allie was able to eat. And she not only loved it, but we went ahead and said, here, eat most of it. And it was super funny because I don't think I've ever had flan before. I used to watch Cooking Mama and make it or whatever, or play that. It was super good. And I took a few bites. I was very impressed with that, to be truthfully honest.
Yeah, I enjoyed the flan. I'm not a big flan fan.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds funny. Flan fan.
Mm-hmm.
This was good. I had a bite and I enjoyed it, but it's just not my thing, like texture wise, but the flavors were really good. Carne asada was outstanding.
Yeah.
Like the steak was cooked a medium, so it had a nice pink center. It had a really good kind of thin crust on the outside, like it was seared. It had a lot of flavor. The sweet potatoes were so good.
Mm-hmm.
And having the crispy fried onion, I would never think to put crispy fried onions with a sweet potato. I could see it on a regular mashed potato or, parsnip puree or something, but this was such a good combination.
Yeah.
Like I want to do this when we do Thanksgiving. I'll have my own little side of it when we do yams, basically, and instead try crispy onions on top, like you would normally put on a green bean casserole. And that's not what these were. These weren't like your French's crispy onions. These were actually more like an onion ring style. Like they took onions and breaded them and fried them.
Right.
And they were super good. And then, this corn masa haracha with the pinto beans and the mushrooms and all was also super flavorful. Had this incredible pop of corn and masa in that little, like, is almost like a crispy house-made tortilla.
Yeah.
And so I thought all of this was
We also got the drink.
Yeah, talk about the Bonbon Margarita Marshmallow, which you had wanted.
Yeah, because it's so it's What is that first
Well,
word?
mezcal. Yeah, it's like tequila.
Okay. And then marshmallow cordial, lime juice, agave nectar, and a hint of coffee and elderflower served with toasted marshmallows, actually. 2 of them. This was new for $16.50. I think because I love elderflower. I mean, it says a hint of coffee, so it wasn't like a lot. I love marshmallow. I would think a marshmallow cordial would be sweet. Tequila's fine. I figured it would, all this other stuff, agave nectar, lime juice, I thought it would overpower. I didn't love it.
Yeah.
But it was good. I think I just expected, with all the reading of everything, it to be different.
Yeah,
Does
I can
that
see
make
that.
sense?
That makes perfect sense. Like if somebody handed it to you without the toasted marshmallows on top,
Yes.
right? And you took some sips, I think you'd be hard pressed to figure out exactly what you were having.
I agree.
You would know it was a margarita because it did
Correct.
have that kind of lime and a little bit of tequila flavor.
Correct.
But the rest of it, I don't think you'd place and be like, oh, is that a hint of marshmallow?
Right.
Is that a hint of
And not even a hint.
elderflower or yeah?
I mean, it's a hint of coffee. I mean,
I caught no coffee in it.
no, which is fine. But the color was a brownish, like almost coffee color look. Marshmallow cordial, like, I mean, that's a liquor, right? I mean, so I don't know. I guess but again, and I think maybe it was a little strong in my thought.
Let me say
too.
this. I thought it was a fine drink. Your $16.50 can be spent better elsewhere.
I agree.
There are much better beverages.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll
talk
some.
about.
Yeah.
So let's leave it right there.
Yep.
All right. Figments. This is new for 2023. Figments Inspiration Station inside of the Odyssey. And we tried 2 different things over that. Well, actually 3 different things when you get into the beverage. Why don't you talk about the fruit pizza and the rainbow cake?
Yeah. Again, this is gluten friendly. So Allie was able to get it. She got the fruit pizza. It is watermelon, compressed cantaloupe, berries, and berry balsamic. She loved it. It was fantastic. I didn't taste it because, again, there was not much she is able to eat.
Yeah.
So when she was able to eat, I just was like, there's plenty for, I mean, just talking to her, I figured we could do it. I think you tasted it, right?
I did not.
Did
but
not.
in my
Okay.
opinion, it's watermelon and balsamic,
it was
and you can't
fantastic.
go wrong with that combination.
Chuck tasted it. Like
Yeah.
I said, they loved it. She ate the whole thing. So
What did we love?
So we got the rainbow cake with freeze-dried Skittle bite-sized candies for $4.75. This also is where you can get your Figment popcorn bucket if you do not have one, and it is limit to per person, please, and it is $25. And what's fantastic is you can mobile order this, and it is a simply awesome streamline of way to do it.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. Great.
And there is no shortage of Figment popcorn buckets
there's not.
this year. So go get yours.
Yep. So anyways, the rainbow cake, it was super cool because it was super pretty, very Instagram worthy. Anytime something's like that, I'm like, please let it taste really good. Jeremy took the first bite. His face kind of looked really good. And I looked at him and I go, please tell me this tastes like a Publix cake. Because Publix cake is my favorite.
Yeah.
He looked at me and
too.
said, tastes like a Publix cake. And I was like, oh, gimme. Holy moly, this cake was fantastic. And honestly, I love how, so this rainbow cake didn't have like what do you call that, icing and stuff in between each layer. And I mean, this was just outstanding. Probably my favorite dessert.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say.
I loved it. And those freeze-dried Skittles were really interesting.
They were neat.
They had so much flavor. Like, who would have known? And they kind of burst open a little bit. And I really enjoyed it. Like, I was just eating those, the ones that fell off on the plate. Like,
you
I just
can
want
buy them. Amy said you can buy them on Amazon.
Oh, I may look because I would love a whole bag of them. Like, that'd be such a good little sweet treat.
Yeah.
Then Chuck went ahead and went with the grape smoothie with freeze-dried Skittles, bite-sized candies in it. This is non-alcoholic. It's new, $5.50. It was a frozen grape drink.
It was very grape.
Super grape.
Grape. What am I trying to say? That grape Tylenol.
Yeah, it did. It tasted like or Dimetap or something. It tasted like children's medicine.
It did.
He threw most of it away.
Yeah.
And it even comes in like a little plastic souvenir cup, and he threw that thing out too. He was just like, forget it. He's like, I'm not even dealing with it. So maybe wouldn't recommend that. Let's move over to Goshiki in Japan.
Yeah.
And Chuck and Allie got the sushi donut, which we love year after year.
Yep.
They loved it again. Go ahead and talk about the brand new savory item that we got.
Yeah, so it's a rainbow katsua sando. It is a pork cutlet sandwich with tangy tonka sauce and cabbage and rainbow sweetbread for $6.50. And it was good, but it was cooler. It was not cold, but it was not hot. But it was the flavors. Everything was fantastic. The bread was great.
Portion.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Good portion.
It almost came in like its own little bento box that had
Yes.
2 sections, and the sandwich, it's half of a sandwich. Think of a
It
regular
is.
size of bread.
Yeah.
Make a full sandwich with a good thick half-inch pork cutlet in there, the cabbage, and then cut that in half, and you got the half wrapped in like wax paper, sitting in this little half size of a bento box, and on the right side was like a little bit of pickled vegetables to kind of cleanse your palate that were actually super good as well.
And it was really cool because Allie actually told a story because I was a little sad and thought, like, why is it like almost room temperature, whatever. I thought it was super cool. She told the story that Japan ladies, moms, and they would make this food at the beginning of the day, and they make bento boxes for their kids and to go to school and whatnot. And so that is how you have it and when you eat it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it just gave me chills. And I was like, that is really cool. And with all that being said, it made sense. And then I was like, okay, this is fantastic then.
Yeah,
like,
I really liked it.
I don't need it warm. Like that was really cool.
What talk about the beverages, because they do have a new beverage that you got. So I got my Masu Sake in a traditional personalized wooden cup for $12.50 that I get every year. This is my 4th. I've got one that says Jeremy. I've got one that says Main Street Magic. I have one that possibly says Jerry. And what did we get this year on it?
This time we got my name.
Yeah.
Which, even though it was for Jeremy, because I got the new drink this year, which is a purple yuzu sake lemonade. So it's a sake cocktail infused with butterfly pea flower and yuzu lemonade. This is new for $8.50. But it was super neat because the wooden box we did get, and when she did pour it, she said Rhonda. So I was very excited that they did get my name right and everything. But yeah, the purple yuzu sake lemonade I thought was really good. It was almost compared to a little bit of a children's medicine too.
Yeah, but like the good kind. Like there's some children's medicine that actually tastes good.
It was really
tasted
good.
like medicine, but a good medicine.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. But it was a little sweet for me. I love the butterfly pea flower. That was good. And it's really purple. And then you watch them pour the lemonade in. It was really cool. I drank it and enjoyed the little tiny cup that I got.
It's a smaller version. And it's $8.50, so that part's good.
Yes, but I wouldn't want another one.
Yeah. And maybe that's why they're serving such a small portion for this one, because you don't want more than one. Over at Gourmet Landscapes, we skipped this year, but one of the things we loved... Oh, no, I'm sorry. We actually did repeat this year.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk about the roasted bone marrow that we really liked from last year, and we saw it again this year, and it was a big portion. It was a big piece of bone marrow, the one that we saw. So I thought that was pretty cool. But talk about what we did stop and get, because you wanted to make sure that we did.
I wanted my wild mushroom risotto, and this is where... Like back to America, don't not try it because we said we didn't have a great dish, because this is what happened last year. We got the wild mushroom risotto and it was either just not cooked correctly or it was the bottom of the pan we got. And it was a little sad because some of the risotto was a little crunchy. Well, I was like, you know what? Sometimes risotto batches can be different. I went and got another one that same year because we got to go back and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So this year I wanted to get it. This year, not only was it fantastic, I think it was more.
Yeah, it was a good portion.
It is a wild mushroom risotto with aged Parmesan, truffle shavings, and Zinfandel reduction. I think there was more like mushroom, like I don't want to call it gravy. I started to say juice, but I was like a gravy. Then you had some good chunky Parmesan
shavings.
Thick shavings though on the side. And oh my goodness, just mixing this all together, this was so good. And if we're in, or excuse me, when we're in it for Main Street 16, I might go ahead, and if there's lines not super long, I might go ahead and get back in this line and get this again. It was just amazing.
Yeah, it's nice and filling, so it is a good thing to kind of fill your stomach when we're running around the parks, but I actually really enjoy it too. If I could guarantee anytime I went somewhere and I ordered risotto, it was cooked this perfectly, I'd get it every time. I would like to learn how to cook risotto this perfectly, because it's a tough thing to cook and get it to taste this good. Loved it. I'd get it again and again. And we had a little bit of a cooler day, so a nice warm hearty dish like this was absolutely perfect.
Yes.
We did not stop to eat at France this year. They do have one new item, and I'll be honest, it just, I didn't want it. It's plant-based Napoleon with beets, cashew herb filling, pepper pine nut sauce, and a balsamic vinegar caviar for $12.75. One of the things that I would have gladly stopped and gotten this year is the Brie bread bowl, if we did not see somebody else who got it.
Quite a few people.
This looked like last year's bread bowl had a newborn baby, and that is this year, the size of this year's bread bowl.
It's tiny.
We went from, and I might be a little exaggerating probably, I'm trying to just kind of like think of the size difference between a softball and a racquetball. Now, I wouldn't go as small as golf ball. I'd say racquetball, somewhere between a racquetball and a baseball. That was the size of the bread bowl this year. Like it looked like a 2-3 bite full bread bowl, whereas last year, like, it was a good portion.
Yeah,
it was a nice size that you could share.
Yeah,
this did not look shareable. It's $9.75. That was a little, and that's one of those instances we're saying sometimes portions get smaller and the prices continue to go up a little bit. So a little disappointing to see that. All right, let's move on to Italy.
Yes. So yesterday was a crazy day where everything was wonderful before 2 p.m. 2 p.m. hit, and I think because people could hop, I think maybe you had some locals come in. I don't know, but I tell you what, it was slammed.
It got nuts to butts.
I felt like it was for the festival.
Yeah.
The rides weren't crazy.
Yeah.
It was literally, the lines were ridiculous. So Italy was crazy, and we were like, all right, we're done. So we did not go through there. Well, that's when today we went, and we went ahead and got that. So we went ahead and got the 2 new things. There are 3. We didn't get the dessert, but we did get the 2 new things, which is the mozzarella fritta, which is flash fried breaded fresh mozzarella with artist palette condiments for $8.25. And then they have a ravioli fungi, which is wild mushroom stuffed pasta with truffle butter and a truffle pearls for $9.25. And I think the mozzarella fritta are super cool because it looks like an artist palette, where it comes on this little plastic thing, palette.
It's a palette
with little sauces, and they're pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And they are 2 sauces in each one that goes all the way around the fritter.
Yeah.
And it was a nice, good size fritter. It was really good. It tasted fresh, actually. Not frozen, I feel like.
I enjoyed it. I mean, this was the mozzarella inside was super salty, which I like in a mozzarella. The cheese was just perfectly melted for like a mozzarella stick. I mean, this is basically a glorified mozzarella stick. Mm-hmm. And these sauces on the outside. So there was a marinara that was very traditional. And I described this as you take it's a giant mozzarella stick. That's what I'm going to call it. Take it and dip it in the marinara. It tastes like going to your TGI Fridays and getting mozzarella sticks. Not a bad thing. Those are delicious.
Yeah.
Next to it, we couldn't quite place it. It tasted like a shrimp sauce.
Yeah,
like
it did. It was
from you'd get at a hibachi place.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like too.
I didn't think it paired well with it.
I didn't either.
Then there was a balsamic vinegar or
which
balsamic glaze.
Took just the cheese.
Yeah.
And ate that with it, not the fried part.
I didn't like
it was
it all
really
together.
good.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
And then there was this herb butter, garlic butter, and that set this thing off to a whole new level.
Yeah,
that was
super
elevated mozzarella stick. And I really enjoyed this. I would get it again.
Yeah.
Which I've never said about a dish at the Italy booth for any festival that has ever existed.
Yeah.
Next was this ravioli. I'm coming around a bit on mushrooms depending on how they're presented. This was 2 very large raviolis. And it was filled with basically like pureed mushrooms with some other whatever, maybe seasoning and stuff in it. And then it had, so that was little truffle pearls. It looked like caviar actually on the outside, but they were truffle pearls.
I didn't eat that.
And then this
I thought it
truffle
was
butter.
caviar. Yeah.
Pasta tasted homemade and fresh. It was thick and cooked to a perfect al dente.
It was.
I thought the mushroom filling was good. It wasn't too earthy. It wasn't
was
dirty.
earthy.
Well, it wasn't. Let me say it that way. It was earthy without tasting dirty. Sometimes for me, mushrooms taste earthy and dirty.
Okay.
This did not.
Okay.
The truffle butter was fine, but you really brought up a great point that this needed some sort of other sauce, like an Alfredo sauce, or some sort of maybe some sort of white wine sauce or a garlic sauce.
Something.
And this would have been. This was still a good dish.
It was,
but it could have been better.
Yes, it could have been better because it was very plain in my opinion. Where again, it's still fine.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you want something like if everything's too crazy, you're like, I just want something like that.
Right.
Which is still good. I would get this again. Actually,
I would too. I actually would too.
So
these are the best 2 dishes I've personally ever had at the Italian booth for any festival in the 8 years that we have been going to them.
wow.
Which, by the way, happy 8th year entering pass holderness because we renewed our passes while we were there.
We did.
So literally we've got a
Yay.
week we have less than a week to spare, and we decided let's go ahead and do it very last minute. So I'm literally booking park reservations yesterday for next Saturday when we do our ride challenge for mainstreet16.com. So that was funny. And then we get this every year, the Italian margarita with tequila and limoncello for $11.75.
So good.
This thing is delicious.
Yep.
I'm going to remake this and do it maybe with limoncello and vodka, we said.
Yeah.
And I think it would be really good. And I think our ninja should be up for the task of blending. We have a really nice ninja blender and food processor and all.
Yeah.
No matter what, though, I've never been able to perfect the consistency of like a slushy like you get at a place like this, or like a tropical smoothie.
Right.
Like every time we make it, it's good and the consistency is good for about 1 minute, and then it all starts to separate.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is. If anybody has secrets, let us know. All right. New this year is Modern. And we did try 3 different items from here on the food side, and we did get a beverage. I'm going to start off with the Angry Crab. This is what I was probably looking forward to most. Of course, this is new because the booth is new. About a week ago, our good friend Rachel, who is a wonderful foodie, she knows her stuff very well, messaged and was like, I am so sorry I have to be the one to break this to you, but the Angry Crab, I can't remember if she exactly said hot garbage, but it might have been that she threw most of it away and that it was not good at all.
Yes. I was so nervous and sad for you.
I trust Rachel's food reviews very much, and I think maybe she got a not good one or something or whatever, but I was like, I'm sorry, Rachel, I'm still going to try it, even though I know it's probably not going to be good. And look, this thing's $7.50, okay? So it is a whole crispy soft shell crab with green papaya salad, a mango sriracha fluid gel, and coconut lime foam with pomegranate and mango crushed pearls for $7.25. My initial concern is, why am I getting a whole soft shell fried crab for only $7.25? It seems pretty cheap, right? It's a beautiful dish.
Yeah.
It is the whole, if you've never had soft shell crab, it is during, I think it's when they're molten, basically. It's between them kind of like growing their new shell, and it is a full soft shell. And you basically, you open them, you clean out the lungs and such, and then you bread them and you deep fry it, shell and all. But the shell, again, is soft.
Right.
So you're literally looking at what just looks like a blue crab, and it's been completely fried. So it is definitely off-putting to a lot of people. Legs are sticking out. This was cut in half. It still had the mustard in it.
Yep.
I know I'm saying mustard. It's not mustard, but that's what it's called. It is yellow. and it actually has kind of a good sweetness to it.
Ugh.
And some people eat it and some people don't. I used to be the type that I'd clean the most of it out, but like I've seen people eat blue crabs and pick them and literally are dabbing it. Like I think you guys do, you and the girls, when we would get them, you would dab out all the yellow mustard.
Oh, absolutely.
with a napkin.
Yes, get it out. Gross.
So anyway, so it's got that. It's got this fresh papaya salad and all. It was awesome. It was my number 2 favorite dish that we had this weekend, and I think it could fight number 1 when we talk about it. I loved it. If I get a chance, I will get it again.
Chuck
it
loved
was outstanding.
it.
Yeah,
it was fine for me. It is weird. I like crab legs. That's the type of person I am. I don't like this. Like, I mean, I'm not from Maryland or anything, and I was super happy for Jeremy. And then it was funny because I do want to like ask Rachel, like, have you had? Because Jeremy loves like a soft shell crab sandwich, like anything like that. And I've seen him eat them, and he loves it all. I would love to know if she actually like has eaten that kind of thing,
right.
And you know, but if she's kind of like me, I don't know. But anyways, I was super happy for him. And then, you know, we had the, there was a pan-seared scallops, 2 of them, with vanilla butternut squash puree, brown butter cauliflower puree, and then a lime foam. And there was 2 of them for $7.50. Which $7.50 I thought was a little expensive just for 2, and they were smaller. But you and Chuck loved it.
They've always done scallops outstanding.
Fantastic.
And the reason Rhonda said there were 2 of them twice is because I don't know how long it took, but at least opening day, Blog Mickey had posted, this should be called pan-seared scallop. It was labeled scallops, but there was only 1.
Oh, wow.
When they first were getting the dish. So they did add an additional one.
Nice.
Yeah, they do scallops wonderfully.
Yeah.
And they're always perfectly cooked. They have a nice sear. Really like that. And then Chuck got the dessert, the Tropics, which was Lila Kwai mousse, guava cake, coconut creme, compressed pineapple, and mango gel for $5. I enjoyed this all. It was like a taste of the Tropics.
It was fine.
It really was.
Yeah. I didn't love it. It's not a dessert that I was like, oh my gosh, I won't love this. It was fine. Very fine.
What did you think of the Watermelon Mary featuring Boyd and Blair potato vodka that is new this year for $11.50?
It was good. It was very strong.
Yeah.
Very strong. So if you want a strong drink, go ahead and get that.
But here's a point.
Good.
Here's a point over that Margaritaville, that Bon Bon Margarita over in Mexico for $16.50. This is $5 less. It's going to pack more of a punch if that's what you're looking for, getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
It was like it was straight up watermelon was just blended with vodka and then drained so you didn't have chunks in it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It was super refreshing.
Yeah.
And it was a good portion too. And like that almost
cute,
like plastic large wine glass, like a square wine glass. So I thought that was great. Painted Panda. They have a General Tso's chicken, shumai, and a char siu pork bun that we've liked in the past, but we were focused on some beverages. We have talked, in my opinion, the best alcoholic beverage on Disney property that I've personally had is the Sea Butterfly. It is butterfly pea flower infused cocktail with Smirnoff vodka, light rum, lychee syrup, and magic boba pearls for $13.75. Good as always.
Yep.
It is as good to look at as it is to drink.
Yes.
And again, if you're going to spend your money on an alcoholic beverage, I think this is the one to do it.
Yeah.
You went for a new one this year, and what was that?
So it was called the Silk Road Hard Lemonade with Smirnoff vodka, lavender coconut syrup, and lemonade for $13.50. Now this is cute, and it's in a smaller like wine, like a stemless wine glass.
Yep.
It is pink, and it in the sun looked like it was very sparkly through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So a very sparkly, pretty drink, and then a cute little what would that lime be called? Because remember it had like a sugar rim on it. Yes, it did.
And then I don't even remember there being a citrus.
The disco lime thing.
Oh,
remember
yeah,
that?
the like
okay, so
dehydrated lime.
Yes,
that's
so
right.
that was
yes,
thrown in there, and it was super just cute, pretty, Instagram worthy, but super good.
Yeah,
I liked it. Yes, I would absolutely get it again, but I wouldn't get numerous drinks of this because
that's what I was
a
thinking.
little sweet.
Yeah, like I could have more than one Sea Butterfly. I could only have one of those, which you had, just based on how sweet it was, but not in a bad way. Again, it wasn't overpowering. You just have one, and you're like, okay, I kind of feel like I had dessert. Let's see what else there is.
Mm-hmm.
We went we went past Pastoral Palette.
Yeah.
New this year, they do have a Black Forest cake, but we've liked the braised beef short rib in the past. We hated the wild boar cassoulet with duck confit and ham hock last year.
Yeah.
Absolutely did not like it at all.
We threw
a lot of it away. So we kind of just passed this one. Pop Eats, we've loved year after year. They have a wonderful tomato soup with grilled cheese. They switch up last year. I believe it was it bacon grilled cheese or it was oh my gosh, prosciutto, I think maybe, or something last year.
Something.
Right?
Yeah.
What is the new item this year that we got?
New item this year is tomato soup with pimento cheese, bacon, and a fried green tomato grilled cheese for $6.50. And oh my goodness.
Best item I had all weekend.
So good. This is a good half size grilled cheese sandwich. They're making a whole one and cutting it in half, and you get this whole half. It is so good. And then, of course, your tomato soup was fantastic. Dipping it, though, with the tomato soup. Oh, my goodness. This was just outstanding. This is something that, too, again, we're there on this coming weekend, we can stop and grab this real quick.
It's so good.
Fantastic.
Well, and like I was eating the sandwich portion, and it was just so good. Like, because I'd love dipping a grilled cheese in the soup. Like it definitely, but this was so good. I was like, oh yeah, there's soup. And Chuck was like, you got to dip it. And yeah, as soon as you dipped it, another one where it just elevates it to a whole other level. I loved this. I mean, this is one of those that I'd love to see end up showing up over at Connections. You know, like, and it's just, and you get a whole sandwich and you get a good side of soup, and it's there all the time on their menu. I would be hard pressed not to get it most times. We did not stop in Morocco this year, but we've always loved the kebabs that they have there, and they have that stone baked Moroccan bread with the hummus, the chermoula, and the zoug dips. Awesome. Vibrante and Vivito with the amazingly famous chorizo and potato empanada with turmeric aioli and annatto aioli. $6.75. We had to get it again this year. It was the first thing we ate. I think I had like 4 or 5 of them over the course of last year. I love this thing.
Yeah.
They also have the spicy soup with guajillo and herbal chili spice chicken. Allie got this. It is good year after year.
Friendly.
Has a half an ear of corn in it.
Yep.
This thing, and this is one, like, if you've got like sinus stuff going on that Rhonda has, like this will help clear you out.
Oh yeah.
But we went this morning and I was like, you know what they had last year? Let me see if they're doing it again this year. Is they're the only booth to do a breakfast item up until 10:30, and that is their breakfast empanada with ham, egg, and cheese.
Yes.
What did you think of it?
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing drizzled on the outside of the empanada, which is fine because it actually doesn't need it. Inside, the eggs were super fluffy and good and creamy with the cheese. And then you got little chunks of ham in there. And the outside is just a fantastic, great empanada breakfast.
Yeah, I wish that more of the booths would maybe do this.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, it'd be great to go to Mexico and you could get like huevos rancheros maybe up until 10:30 for a breakfast. I'm sure you could do something in the American Pavilion, maybe like do a couple of them. I loved it, and it's another one I'd like to get again. You know, if I find myself in the morning at EPCOT in the next couple of weeks, which I don't know if I will, because I just loved it. I think it would have been really good with a side of salsa. They did have some little Tabasco, little bottles that you could have gotten to go with it. I kind of maybe wish I had grabbed one, but I think a salsa would have been super duper good with it. All right, well, let's kind of round out a little bit here with the Figment Liege waffle, which is new this year for only $4.19. It is available only at Connections Cafe. That is not Connections Eatery. Yeah, it's the Starbucks. I don't understand why they're doing this, because that line is always super crazy. If all you want is this waffle, the only thing I can figure is that Connections opens at 11, but so do the rest of the food booths. Like, I just think you could have put it at the eatery side.
I do too.
As opposed to the cafe side.
The eatery side had this cool Dusk Till Dawn 3 olives, blueberry vodka, lemonade, and orange juice with cotton candy for $14.50.
That looks super good.
It did, but at that point where we were at, I was like, I can't do any more sweet. Yeah. I'm done. I need just water and stuff. So
we waited this morning. I mean, it wasn't too bad. You know, that Starbucks moves pretty quick and all. We went ahead and got the waffle, and it's prepackaged. Prepackaged. You can watch them making them there and putting them together, but then they're packing them in a little plastic baggie. So it's I mean, it's a room temperature cold item in a sense.
Right.
So the waffle is a bit dense, but their waffles there are super good.
Yeah.
It is covered in an icing and then purple sprinkles.
Mhm.
And then it's got a little medallion, like a chocolate figment medallion on it. It was a one bite and I was good just because it is overly sweet.
It is.
But I really did enjoy it.
I did too.
I liked it.
It was really good. I took 2 bites. And then when we were walking, I was like, oh, maybe 2 bites was a bad idea. But then we came out of there and went ahead and got a cup of water right there at the popcorn stand. So that was helping me feel a little bit better. But yeah.
I don't know that I would go specifically to only get this. I could see going, oh, hey, I'm here for my morning coffee. By the way, I'm going to get that and I'm going to throw it in my bag for when I want something sweet later. Because it does not come off as a breakfast item. And I know you can have some very sweet breakfast items.
Oh, yeah.
But I it's not one I think like, oh, I need to get it at 9 a.m. so I can have breakfast.
Right.
Yeah, I'd throw it in your park bag and save it and snack on it kind of throughout the day.
Yeah.
If I were you. Before we sign off for today, talk about your seasonal Joffrey's coffee that you got this morning.
Oh,
That
it was
amazing.
Super good. So I was looking, and everything, unfortunately, and I wanted coffee for the festivals are not coffee related. They're more of these.
They're like lemonade based.
Yeah. So I was like, no, I'd prefer coffee. And because Valentine's Day is coming up, they had a strawberry mocha, like iced like latte or something. Oh my goodness. I went ahead and breakfast this morning. And I was like, you know what? I could totally put some Baileys in it. It was fantastic. You do not have to. They do have non-alcoholic, but alcohol, you can put Baileys, you can do Irish whiskey, you can do vodka.
Bailey's was the clear cut decision.
Oh my gosh, this tasted like a chocolate covered strawberry.
It was
super good. Excuse me. It was a little warm this morning, so that's why I did iced. It was fantastic. So if you're there anytime soon, go ahead and get one of those. Yeah. I loved it.
I'd be interested to see how. I feel like this is one that probably lends better to being iced than hot. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But it was so good. I mean, I just took a sip. I got a decaf coffee and then put some Baileys in it and a little cream and stuff, and that was good as well.
Yep.
I personally would, if I'm in the parks, I personally prefer Joffrey's over Starbucks, just myself.
Yeah.
We got a lot more locations.
Yes.
So even though they always have lines, you can kind of pick and choose which one you want to go to. So yeah. So that is our Festival of the Arts.
Yeah.
Main Street 16 is coming up this weekend.
Woo-hoo.
Huge shout out to all our sponsors, including Vacation Grocery Delivery, including Touring Plans, including Mouse Dining, including Pirates and Princesses. Go to mainstreet16.com, find out more about them. We did have a slight change up in our host for Friday's trivia event. We are now going to have Mr. Mark Daniel from the Disney Parks blog, past live streams. He has done a million other things. So we are super excited to have him on board, even though we had to have a little bit of a switch up. Those tickets are still on sale for only about 24 more hours. Again, go to mainstreet16.com. You can get them for $10 off right now. Trivia contest. There's going to be some raffles on site. There's going to be a live podcast hosted by Mark with Rhonda and I and Scott and Michelle from the Main Street Mouse. So check that out. Go ahead and subscribe. Get these brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And I would be thankful. Rhonda would be thankful. Our children would be thankful if you would leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.